All right, today's lesson should be pretty short. Well, it is pretty short. So let's do it. Let me get, I'll tell you what, let me just do this first. I'm going to grab a triangle. We're going to do one more congruence theorem. And we're only doing one today. So it should be pretty easy to remember. So let's move this over here. Let's move this over here.
Evan Buttinger to the office, Judah Johnson to the office, and Judea Barber to the office. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Ready? So we got two triangles. Do you know anything about these triangles right now just by looking at it? Do you know if any sides are equal, any angles are equal? Do you know if they're congruent to each other? Do you know anything about them? No, I just know I got point A, B, and C, and I got point D, E, and F. That's the only thing I know about them. So we got to put some stuff in here, right? We've done this before, done it like twice already. So this is like the third or fourth time we've done this. So what if I told you that, no wonder. Change the color. There we go. All right, what if I told you that this side was equal to this side? Is that enough to tell you that the triangles are congruent? No. Is that enough right there to tell the triangles are congruent? We've done one before where we had that angle in there, but on this one, I don't know anything about the angles. All I know is about the sides. So I'm told that these two sides are equal, the second set of sides are equal, and what do you think? These third sets of sides are equal to each other, okay? That alone right there, I don't have to know any angles whatsoever. That alone, if I know that all three sides of one triangle equals all three sides of another triangle, guess what I know? Excuse me. What do I know about these triangles? They're congruent to each other, okay? Take a wild guess. It shouldn't be a wild guess because we've done this already. What do you think the reason is? If I asked you, why are these triangles congruent? We haven't said it yet, but you could probably figure it out. That's it. This would be side, side, side. Okay, there's no angles in here, but there are three sides. So if I know one set, two set, three sets of sides equal to each other, then I know these triangles are congruent because of side, side, side. All right? And obviously, we need to write a congruent statement. We've been doing this the last couple days, so let's do this. What's the congruent statement for this triangle? What would I call this triangle? ABC? Yeah. I could call it whatever I wanted as long as I use those three letters, right? You're used to that by now. And then I could say it's congruent to this triangle right here. Now you got to make sure though that the letters match up. So which one over here matches up with A? The D. Which one matches up with the B? The E. And then the C and the F. Okay? I did this in my last class, so I think this is going to be good. Watch what I'm going to do here. Now that was pretty easy to see which ones match up, right? Because they were sitting exactly the same, right? You just say, oh, the one on the top are the same, the one on the left is the same, and the one on the bottom right is the same. Okay, but what if they did this? What if they took it and like twisted it? Okay, and I'm going to do one more thing to it. I'm going to like flip it. Watch this. I'm going to flip it horizontally. See what it did? All right, now I flipped it and everything, so my letters look all crazy looking. So let's put the letters back in here. So what letter was this one right here? That was D, so let's write it so I can read it. And what was this one? Whoops. Let's see if oh, that's all right, I can do that. Ah, shoot, come on. There we go. And let's get rid of that a little bit. This was what? E? And then which one was this one? Yeah, this is F. It's a little backwards again because I did flip it. Now this isn't quite as easy to do your congruent statement. So we learned a little trick yesterday. Do you remember that little trick? So look over here. It kind of looks like the A and the E might be the same angle, doesn't it? All right, if I just looked at it and glanced at it, I really couldn't tell if that one matches up or not. But does it match up? No, it doesn't match up, because if I would twist it and flip it back to the way it was, this E would not be on top of this A. So how do I know? If I'm looking at it on a piece of paper, it's really hard to tell sometimes which ones match up. So how do I know which angle over here matches up with angle A? Where do I look? I look at the opposite side. That's right. So look at angle A. What's the opposite side? BC, which has 3 tick marks, correct? That's what I'm looking for, the number of tick marks. Then come over here. Which one's got 3 tick marks? This right here. And which angle is opposite? Angle D. So that means that angle A, so if I call this triangle ABC, then looking over here, which one matches up with the A? The D. Why? Because it's opposite 3. This one's opposite 3. So they got to be corresponding. They match up with each other. All right. What about the B? B is opposite which one? The side with how many tick marks? 2 tick marks. Okay. So B and the 2 tick marks are opposite. So you come over here and you look for the 2 tick marks. What side is or what angle is opposite the 2 tick marks? Angle E. So that goes next. You see that? It's a nice little trick, isn't it? Because if we do twist it and flip it and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it's really difficult to see which ones go with what. All right, so you got to know this trick. And then C is opposite the 1 tick mark, and then F is opposite the 1 tick mark. So you put the F right here. So now you know which ones go together. Is that helpful at all? I think so. All right, so let's make sure that we look for that, because you're not always going to have them side by side like we did originally. All right, that's too easy. All right, you can just look at it and say, oh yeah, that one matches up with that. So what they're going to do is they're going to take it, they're going to twist it sometimes, they're going to flip it sometimes. All right, maybe flip it horizontally, flip it vertically. And you got to know which one goes with what, especially if they don't look like they go with each other. Like the A and the E kind of look like they would be the same one, kind of. All right, would you agree? But they're not the same. Okay, it's the A and the what are the same over here. The A and the D. All right, then the B and the E are the same, and then the C and the F are the same. All right, I hope that makes sense to you, because that's really, really important. So that's the only one we're doing today. They give it a weird name. They call it conditions for congruent triangles. I don't know. I guess that makes sense a little bit, but I used to teach out of books that they would call this lesson, they would just call it the side, side, side triangles, okay? And that's what the name of it was, which I kind of like better, because again, this is side, side, side. Okay, let's do a little bit more, and then we'll finish this. Let's just do a quick little review. What were the 2 postulates that we learned for triangle congruence? Okay, angle, side, angle. We don't say ASA though, we say angle, side, angle, and what was the other one? Side, angle, side. So those were our postulates. What's the difference between a postulate and a theorem? That's right. This is just accepted as fact. A theorem, what do you have to do to a theorem? You got to prove it, okay? So what are our 2 theorems? We had 2 theorems. Actually, we got 3 now, because the last one we just did was a theorem. Do you remember? Actually, I'm sorry, 2. We got 2 theorems. We have yesterday's and today's. What was yesterday's theorem? What was yesterday's theorem? That's it. It's angle, angle, side. That was yesterday. And then today is what? Side, side, side. So these are what? Theorems. I'll just shorten it like that. Okay? So those are postulates, those are theorems. So again, you're going to use these when they ask you to, what's the word? I forgot it last class, and now I'm forgetting it again. When they ask you to justify your answer. You ever see that in the problems? It says, what postulate or theorem justifies why these triangles are congruent? This is the one. So look for that word, justifies. If it said, what justifies that these triangles are congruent, it's going to be one of these. Okay? And they're also going to ask you to write a congruence, what? Statement. Okay? So they're going to ask you a congruent statement, and they're going to ask you what postulate or theorem justifies that congruent statement. So what's a congruent statement look like? Let's just do a super easy one like we did earlier. Triangle what? Could be anything. Let's go ABC. All right. Is congruent to triangle I don't know. Let's go different. Let's be a little different today. X, Y, Z. All right, so that's a congruent statement. What is a postulate or theorem that justifies this? It's going to be one of these. So whatever it is, okay? It could be angle, side, angle. Whoops. It could be angle, side, angle. It could be side, angle, side, angle, angle, side, or side, side, side. Okay? So make sure you understand these words. Okay, when you see that on a quiz or a test, when it says what postulate or theorem justifies something, then you're going to use one of these four things. Make sense? Okay, and when it asks for a congruent statement, it's going to look like this. Okay, enough of that. Let's see. Let's do one more thing. Well, two more things, kind of. What if I got a triangle here, and I got a triangle right here, and let's do this. What if I said that this angle is equal to this angle? And I also said that this angle is equal to this one, and the third one was equal to this third one. Looks like angle, angle, angle. But does that mean these triangles are congruent because all three angles are equal to each other? That's right, because the lengths could be different. Watch this. Everybody watching? Watch. I can make it smaller or bigger. It doesn't matter. I'll just make it smaller. Watch. If I take this and put it right on top of there, is that top angle equal? Yeah. But look at the triangle. Is that triangle congruent to this triangle? Absolutely not. All right. You can see for sure that this one's way smaller than this one. But look, all the angles are exactly the same, aren't they? See it? That one's equal, and this one's equal right here. So does the fact that all three angles that are equal to each other, does that make the triangles congruent? Okay, can somebody get the door? No. So there is no angle, angle, angle theorem. So watch. Is there, I'll put a question mark, is there an angle, angle theorem? No, there's not.
I have Ariel in my class.
Okay.
He will not come down here. You want me to get Kurt?
He won't come down here?
No, I told him to go to class. So he's in my classroom.
Where is he? I mean, why isn't
I
he?
didn't have your phone number.
Do I have, is he in this class? I can't remember. Ariel. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, tell Kurt.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Guess he really didn't want to come here. All right, everybody good with that? There is no angle, angle, or angle, angle, angle. Here's another one that does not exist that kids think exists. I'm not really going to show you why, but there is no side, side, angle theorem. Everybody see this? There is no side, side angle. So if I had, let's move this over. Watch. If I have this side equals this side, this one, and this is a non-included angle, correct? So like right there. What if I had this situation? I got two sides that are equal, and I got one angle that's equal. Are these triangles necessarily congruent to each other? Okay, no, they're not. I'm trying to think of how I can show you why they're not. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I've done this before. But this is not a situation that is true, all right? So there is no side, side, angle theorem. Everybody understand that? Here's a silly way that you can remember why it's not one of our theorems. This isn't really the reason why it's not a theorem. It's just a way to remember that it's not a theorem. Because if I'm not going to write it, because everybody will giggle and chuckle and stuff. But if I write it backwards, okay, all right, it says a word that everybody would laugh at and we're not supposed to say in school and all that kind of stuff. All right, I'm not going to write it. I'm not going to say it. Don't you say it. All right, but if I wrote it backwards, you're like, oh, that would be a funny theorem, right? You know, but it's not a theorem. Okay, it doesn't work. And again, it doesn't, there is no angle side side, okay? Or there's no side side angle. You understand what I'm saying, right? If it was an angle, side, side, it would spell out a word we're not supposed to say. But again, that's not why it's not a theorem, but it's just an easy way to remember that that's not a theorem. So if you ever write side, side, angle, or angle, side, side, that doesn't exist, right? That's not why. And I really should think of the reason. I should be able to show you right here. If these two are equal and this angle is equal, then these triangles are not necessarily congruent to each other. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of it later. I can't think of it right now. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so really, the main thing we learned today is what? Side, side, side. So that's a really important theorem. Okay, it's a theorem that we've learned in geometry. Okay? Didn't want to come to class today? Huh? You're what? You were talking to Mr. Osborne? Why did Miss Franklin come to me and say that you were in her room and wouldn't leave? All right. We'll take a look at that some other time. All right, everybody good with this? Side, side, side. So here's your homework on this. So it's section 4.5. So this is homework for tonight. It's not too many problems. Page 180, 1 through 6. So that's kind of nice, isn't it? Only 6 problems. All right. Now, I am going to go over yesterday's homework. So, but I'm not going to record that, okay? I'm just going to do it in class. We're not going to record it. All right, that's it for that lesson.